In this video, we're going to be building the Uber Eats Web3 clone with Next.js. We're going to be using Infura to connect it to the Ethereum blockchain. Now, we're going to be creating a bunch of NFTs that will give you discounts in this app, and we will be able to check whether the user has it or doesn't, and then calculate the subtotal. We're also going to have a bunch of goodies in this app. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as usual, we're going to be using the Clever Programmer custom CLI tool that we built for you. So just make sure you are on the latest version, and let's go ahead and just type in npx Clever Programmer, pop in your email, then your name, and then we're going to be selecting the Solidity Uber Eats option. And while that takes a while, it'll also open up Infura for you. So just make sure you have an account if you don't have one already, and create a new project. But in the meantime, the terminal is apparently done and it opened up VS Code, so that's nice. So let's just check out how the app looks like, or don't, and let's just go ahead, create a new API key on Infura. So we're going to be selecting the Web3 API. That is their combined all the chains that you will ever need type of API. So just name it whatever, Uber Eats, but just make sure you don't have space in between them, because later on when you try to connect it to your VS Code, it is better not to have space in the project. Now it'll take a little bit to load, and then this is what you're gonna see. If you select endpoints, that's all your RPC URLs that you will need. All right, let's go back to our code, VS Code, and let's actually connect it to our VS Code. So if you don't have Truffle already installed into your VS Code, now is the time to go ahead and do it. It's a free extension. It's just where every other extension is. And just make sure you disconnect all the networks and then you just reconnect, so you're starting this session with a fresh connection. So go ahead straight away, just connect to your Infura and Uber Eats will pop up immediately. And there you go. That is everything you will need for this one. Now straight away, let's go into our Uber Eats discount NFT.sol file that is created by the CLI tool. So let's go ahead and get started with that too. Let's set up the NFT collection. So we're going to be using Solidity version 080. So just make sure you specify that version. And then we're going to be importing a couple of things from OpenZeppelin. So this is going to be an ERC1155 compliant token. So let's import that. And also you want to make sure that whenever you're importing, in previous builds, we already had these issues. When you're importing, you want to import from OpenZeppelin contracts, not just contracts. Okay, and we're going to be importing ownable, because these NFTs will have someone who owns them. And let's actually create the Uber Eats discount NFT that is an ownable ERC1155 token. So it's going to be a child to those. Now we're going to create a string that's going to be a public string, and that will be the token URI. And we're also going to go ahead, create a constructor. This is actually like standard NFT procedures. So you need a token URI, you're going to need the constructor, because that's how whenever you're minting, that's what's going to run. Constructor, string, memory, token URI, and then it's going to be ERC1155. And then we're going to have a mint function passing in the account, the amount, and this is going to be a payable minting function, meaning the user has to pay for these NFTs to be minted. So we're going to make sure that the user at least sends 0.01 Ether. Otherwise, we're going to have to reject this minting. And we're going to be minting the NFTs into his or her account. And we're also going to be passing in a couple of other attributes alongside with the amount. So with that said, that is your Uber Eats discount NFT. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so let's actually set up a couple of things for this NFT. So first up, we're going to be go ahead and opening up our Chrome. And we're going to be creating a IPFS API key. The reason is when you have an NFT, you will have to store the image somewhere, and that's usually going on IPFS. Now, again, just don't leave any spaces in the project name. So there you have it. And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be enabling dedicated gateways, because that's something Infura can do and it's super cool. So just pop in your name, Clever Programmer, whatever you really want to. But what this will enable you to do is that it will create a subdomain under Infura's IPFS, and that is going to be your own dedicated gateway. So once you save it, you can go back to your VS Code, and we're going to be opening a terminal, but you want to also make sure that you open it under the data folder. So by default, VS Code only opens it under Uber Eats Infura, so basically the project. And then you can either CD into, so just say CD data, or you just open it in the data folder directly. So there's this nice little Lamborghini image and the NFT JSON. So the NFT JSON is going to contain all your NFT metadata, and this is what we'll be using later. So let's just rename it. So it will be Uber Eats subscription, description, again, a subscription for Uber Eats, whatever you can, that doesn't really matter, but that's what's going to show up on OpenSea. And you can also pop in your subdomain. So basically what we're going to be doing is inside the terminal, we're going to say Infura auth. This is going to be creating a variable equals, and then just project ID : API secret. So that's exactly what's happening. I will just save it into your terminal session, and then you can invoke it later, so you don't have to always copy paste these. And then we're going to say curl expose, so basically an API call to using the Infura auth authentication to this IPFS that Infura is providing. Infura IPFS.infura.io : 501 API v0 add, and then we're going to be attaching the file. So we're going to say that Lambo NFT. And then the reason why, and this is where it becomes important that you are in the correct folder with your terminal. Otherwise, the Lambo NFT will obviously not be found. So what this is going to do is this will just upload the image to the IPFS. Now we're going to have to, because IPFS clears itself, and if you pin it, it won't clear that particular file. So now what we're going to say, it's going to be another post call, but to /API/v0/pin/add. And in the arguments, we're going to be popping in the IPFS. We're going to say /IPFS/ and whatever comes back as your hash as a response from the previous request. Just paste that there, and that should be good to go. Once again, this hash goes right here if it wasn't clear. And then you will see your pins. That is supposed to be the same hash that just came back, or that you just pinned. So now you can go ahead and put that at the end of the link, and you will also want to make sure that you are copying your dedicated gateway, because that's the reason why we have it. Just paste it there, and that will be your URL for the image. So nice, that works perfectly. Now we're going to repeat this exact same process, but instead of the image, we're going to be uploading and then pinning the NFT JSON file. So I'm just going to go through this fast. So we're going to say, so instead of file Lambo and NFT, we're going to say NFT.json. The reason is, for now, we only uploaded the image, but we haven't uploaded the metadata. So now we created the metadata file, but we have to upload and pin that. And that's what's going to be used by the NFT. Okay, we uploaded it. Now let's go ahead and pin that guy. Okay, there seems to be some sort of error. Oh, and that is because there was a typo. So if you type Ifura instead of Infura, that's obviously not going to work. Okay, and now there you go. It is working perfectly. And now we're going to create the pins .txt file, and we're just going to paste the metadata location, so that whenever we are creating the NFT, we'll be pasting this link in there. So that should be good to go. Let's move on to the next part. Okay. All right, so let's now start converting the US dollar values into WEI and Ether, the currency of the blockchain. So if you go into cart.jsx on line 44, there's a const USD to WEI function. It's going to be super simple, super quick. Basically, you're just going to say const ETH equals USD/USD to ETH. And on line 36, as you can see, it's already defined what that is. So you can just change that. It's not the scope of this project to include the live updating, so just move on. Now we're going to be converting it to way, and that's going to be using the ethers library. So we're going to say ethers.utils.parse ether, and then just pass in the eth.toString or the eth value as a string, because otherwise it's a number, and then just return way. Done. Now it's going to be even easier to convert USD to ETH because we've already done that. So just copy that one line and we should be good to go. All right, so let's actually deploy these NFTs, or deploy these contracts, not NFTs, obviously. So you already have your Infura set up. If not, you can scroll back and I'm showing you earlier how to set it up. But if you're at this part of the video, just smash the like button because you've already seen that. Now, you can hit that deploy button there and that will pop up, open the little window that you can see right now. And we're going to be using the Girly network. So just select that and it will start going ahead and deploying and building our contract. Hold on a second. There's some interesting things happening there. So it looks like there's some sort of issues with the import. And the reason is we have contracts twice. So just remove the second one or first one, whichever basically opens applet/contract, and that should be good in theory. All right, let's try to run it again. Looks like it's working. Wait a second. Okay, now Uber Eats discount NFT has some sort of issues. And that looks like that's a typo. So instead of discount, you want to go with discount with the T. All right, let's try again. Looking good so far. Okay, so looks like we made that same mistake again. Let's fix that. Oh yeah, 2 more places, line 7 and 8. Hopefully you didn't make these mistakes and you're already deployed, but that's all right. If you did, now is the time for you to debug. Again? Interesting. Oh, okay, so there too. All right. I'll learn to type at some point. That's all right. That's all right. So looking good. This looks way more promising. And there it is, I think. Yes. Okay, yeah, execute command, finish running command. So that means deployment is completed and we are good to move on to the next step. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and check whether the user has a discount NFT or doesn't. So what we're going to do is inside of our card JSX, there is a use effect, which is the check, which has a check discount function in there. So you just want to pop in a try catch, and obviously if it fails, then just console log the error. And in a try clause, you just want to say provider, and it will be new ethers provider, and then pass in window.ethereum. That's the code snippet that MetaMask passes into the browser and injects it in there. Then we're going to go ahead, create the signer, which is going to be provider.getSigner. And we're going to be saving the discount NFT address. It's going to be Uber discount NFT.networks5, which is the Girly network, and then .address. So we're going to be looking there. And we're going to have the discount NFT contract passing in the discount NFT address, passing in the ABI, and the signer. Now we're going to say const balance equals await discount NFT contract dot balance of, and then passing the signer dot get signer dot get address and 0. So we're going to console log it, and then a previously declared use state. We're gonna save the actual balance. So set discounted, and we're gonna be converting whatever we get back to a number. And we're going to say balance.toString. So what's going to happen is we're going to get back the balance. We're going to convert it to string because otherwise it's a big number, and convert that into an actual number that we can work with. And if that is greater than 0, and we're going to be saving a true or false clause, whether that is greater than or less than 0. So that's what's going to be in the set discounted state. So with that said, let's check it out. So we're going to go ahead, refresh the app. And so there's one item in the cart. And I'm going to go ahead, connect MetaMask with the lovely Rainbow Kit. And the balance is currently 0, meaning that I do not have the NFT. So obviously there is 0 discount being applied. And now let's actually mint the NFT. All right, so let's mint the NFTs. So moving it into the mint NFT function in card.jsx, we're going to go ahead, create a provider in the try clause. The usual drill, just fetch the Ethers provider using the injected code from MetaMask. Then we're going to go ahead, create a signer, which is going to be provider.getSigner, and then create the destructure the address. So that basically the girly deployment address of the Uber Eats discount NFT. And we're going to be saying, we're going to go ahead, create a contract instance. So discount NFT contract equals new ethers.contract, pass in the address, pass in the ABI, and then pass in the signer. Then we're going to go ahead and generate the transaction, which will be discount NFT contract. So we're going to be using the mint function of the NFT contract, passing the user address, which we get from Rainbow Kit, by the way. Then we're going to be passing in the value. So that's how much we're going to be paying for the NFT. So that's going to be 0.00 Ether. And then we're going to be passing it as the payload. And now we're just waiting. So await transaction.wait function. That's an async function. Takes some time. Blockchain isn't the fastest thing in the world. And we're gonna console log once the NFT is minted. So let's take a look at that. Connecting the wallet and minting, and it's actually, and there you go. There is the balance. Now, mind you, that is in Way, I believe. So there you have it. The NFT now is minted. All right, now let's actually handle the purchase. And once this is done, we are actually finished with this app. So there is a handle purchase function. Now inside there, usual try catch, because we're working with blockchain. So in the try clause, we're going to go ahead, create the usual provider. We've already done this. Now it comes the address instance or the contract instance, but this is going to be the Uber Eats instance, not the other one. So pass in the address, ABI signer, yada, yada. And now we're going to go ahead and calculate the total cart value. So this is something new that we haven't done before. Now, this is going to reduce a function called reduce from JavaScript. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but basically all it does is it loops through an array and then just adds everything up or does a certain thing. And then we're going to have two variables that we pass in and basically add those two together. And we are going to have a starter value, which is going to be 0. So basically all that's happening is we have the current value and the previous value, and we're just going to add the current value to the previous value, and therefore it will be summed up, and we always start with 0. So that is going to be your total USD value. Now we're going to be converting into, so that's using the USD to way function that we've already built earlier. And we will now check whether the user has the NFT, the discount NFT. So we're going to set everything up for that. So we're going to create the discount NFT instance using the address, the ABI, and the signer. And we're going to check the balance. So we're going to pass in the signer's address and then 0, and that will return the balance of that specific NFT in the user's wallet. So if the user has more than 0, then we're going to be applying the discount on the total value, or like the total way value. That was hard to say. So we're going to say total way and then just get 70%. And we're going to be multiplying it with 70 and then divided by 100. So that will give us the 70% that we're looking for. So the 30% discount. And we're going to be setting the set discounted to true, and that will update the dollar amount. And now we're going to go ahead and create the transaction. So await Uber Eats contract dot buy cart, pass in the total way value that either gets modified or it doesn't. So if it doesn't, it is going to be the full value. If it does, then it's going to be the 70% of that value. And the parameters are going to be value total away, gas limit 100,000. Let's just increase it from the usual 30,000, just so we have like extra room. Also, it's free, so it's whatever. And we're going to be setting the gas price to null. Now, we're going to create the receipt and we're going to be waiting for it. And if everything goes successfully, we'll just route back to the initial page of this app. So this page technically. All right, now let's add all these things to our cart. And now what we're going to do is, as you can see, because we already minted this NFT, the discount is already applied. You don't even have to worry about it. And so now we can just say place order, and that's the ETH equivalent of the $4.90. So let's go ahead, hit place that order. And as you can see, the loading screen works and it just threw you back straight to the home page. So with that said, that pretty much wraps up this build. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, let us know in the comment section down below. With that said, I'm signing out. Peace.